In this module, we will give a brief overview of the iRTU and EdgeLink Studio. Here are the objectives you are expected to understand in this training module. Here's the agenda for this module. We will start with the introduction to the idea of iRTU and then use some typical examples to describe the system structure of the iRTU's application. In the third part, we will introduce the iRTU system in a more detailed way in terms of the hardware and software. Finally, we will highlight some of the features released in the EdgeLink 2.2. iRTU means the intelligent RTU. But before describe what the iRTU is, we need to understand the definition of RTU and DTU. DTU and RTU are two terms that widely used in the industrial automation area. DTU is the short for data transfer unit. DTU is a device to transfer the data in different interfaces. For example, a DTU may be used to transfer the serial RS-485 data to the Ethernet packet, and in Advantech, we usually call these products data gateway or device server. This system structure is widely used in the machine-to-machine application. There are also some DTUs that could be used to transfer the serial communication to the wireless GPRS. The RTU, on the other hand, is the short for remote terminal unit. Unlike DTU, which only transfer the data between different interfaces, RTU have the ability to process and store data inside it for different kinds of application scenarios. The RTU usually is composed of the following components for the different functionalities. For example, it must have a CPU in order to process the data, and also it may have a storage to save the local data, and it can keep the data in retained and temporary memories. And it also have the I/O. For example, it may have the analog input and digital input output to connect with the sensor and actuators. Here are some examples for the different brands RTU product. As described in the previous slide, the RTU must have CPU, storage, and rich I/O interfaces to meet its functionality. Here, we will use Eden 3600 as an example. The CPU of Eden 3600 is Cortex A8, which is also used in Apple iPhone 4. The storage interface includes one 1GB built-in micro SD card and an extra SD card slot for data backup. The I/O interface of Eden 3600 includes onboard I/O, serial, USB, LAN, and VGA interfaces. We will explain these interfaces in the following slide. Here, we also list out some products from our competitors. As you can see, some of RTU may not have the storage to save the data. In Advantech, we call our RTU product Eden 3600 as iRTU, the intelligent RTU, which aims for IIoT, Industrial Internet of Things application. Robustness for harsh environment and intelligence for self-diagnostic and healing make this product suitable for a wide range of IIoT applications in the world. As we know, the system structure of the IoT could be divided into three different layers. There are perception layers, which is also called sensing layer, and also the network layer, or is also called transport layer, and also we have the application layer. So we could say Eden 3600 acts as a bridge from the perception layer to the application layer. In the world of IoT application, iRTU need to have the ability to gather the data from all of the devices with the reliable transmission. Inside the iRTU itself, it needs to have the ability for self-diagnostic and program ability to deal with massive number of the raw data and sort out the essential information. Finally, in order to pass the data to the cloud service, the iRTU system also needs wireless communication ability and the easy-to-use software interface to establish the cloud connectivity. Next topic is the application example of iRTU. With these examples, we could get more clues about how these products are used in the real application and what kind of feature it has. This is an application scenario for the oil production. By using Advantech 3600, 3 different kinds of the users could take great advantage from it. For the engineer, they could use Advantech 3600 for the remote diagnostic and maintenance of the equipment. For the operator, they could take advantage of the web service interface to map the monitor and control of the devices, such as pump and motors in the real environment easier. For the executives, by the seamless integration between iRTU and the SCADA system, the manager could access the essential information from a massive amount of the raw data. At first, Advantech 3600 was designed for the oil and gas application. However, we found that the iRTU system is almost suitable for every kind of the automation application scenario, such as transportation, greenhouse monitoring, and logistics transmission industry. In our first application, iRTU was used to realize the application of small buildings, which includes the HVAC system. HVAC is short for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. In this application, Advantech 3600 integrate wireless communication, data acquisition, and logic control. It can help the vendor to do with the real-time analysis and data record. What's more, Advantech 3600 is used to do the logic control to turn on and turn off the fan and motors. In this application, Advantech 3600 is used for monitor the distribution panel in the real site for low voltage monitoring. With the help of Advantech 3600, data acquisition, local storage, and control communication functions can be assembled in one device to be achieved. That is to say, the data of the voltage could be accessed and then stored inside a local data logger. With the Linux-based OS and open API for customization, Advantech 3600 can connect to cloud without a gateway, and the user could see the analysis data from the cloud API without limitation. The iRTU is also widely used in the transportation area. In this application story, remote monitoring and cloud management for GSV, ground support vehicle, the Advantech 3600 with the GPS realized the location function with the timestamp in the local data logger. With the help of the 3G communication module and GPS enabled, Advantech 3600 works as a data acquisition controller with 3G communication between tug truck and airport backend. All of the important data, including the overview of all sensor data, operating time, the position of the tug, and receive alarm, could be updated to the cloud with ease. On the other hand, other important data could also be logged inside the Advantech 3600 for further analysis of generating the report in the future. Tug ID with GPS position and sensor data with timestamp, operation time, blah blah blah. The customer could use our utility to extract, convert, maintain, and store data. Remote configuration of the future setting could also be done easily. We also have the application for small oil fields with the Advantech 3600. The add-on is installed inside the control panel for the oil field in Northwest and North China. As shown in the slide, Advantech 3600 is used to collect all of the data from sensors and actuators, such as the flow meter and the thermometer from the environment. Advantech 3600 have flexible I/O solution, both wired and wireless. The modularized wireless design for the LTE, 3G GPRS, Wi-Fi, Zigbee give Advantech 3600 the ability to support multiple ways of the communication and allow the data to be seamlessly integrated with the SCADA system. For this application, Advantech 3600 is used in an important project in China, which is called South-North Water Diversion Project. In China, the south area is rich in the water resource. On the other hand, the north area is lack of the water resources. So the China government came out with the idea to transport the water from the south area to the north area to solve this issue. In this project, Advantech 3600 is installed in Beijing Water Transfer Station along the route to save the data from underground PLC and the flow meters. The data can be transferred to the central station and monitored by web access. As shown in the slide, Advantech 3600 does pipeline monitoring. The data from the electric valve, water gauge, and flow meter could be collected to the Advantech 3600. It has flexible I/O solution and support various device protocols to realize the seamless integration with the SCADA system. The Advantech 3600 process the data and then update to the cloud system with GPRS wireless communication. With help of the wireless communication, Advantech provides remote diagnostic and firmware upgrade function. In addition, it has the built-in web service page for online monitoring. In the following session, we will start to give you the detailed information about the hardware design of iRTU and what kind of feature it provides. The hardware design of Advantech 3600 could be divided into three different parts. It's the computing ability, communication ability, and I/O system ability. In terms of the computing system, you could imagine Advantech 3600 as a powerful platform with Cortex A8 CPU, which is also used on Apple's product. For the communication ability, it could support wired and wireless communication. On the other hand, for the I/O system, it has 8 analog input, 8 digital output, and 4 digital output built-in I/O, which user could use it directly. The whole system could be used under -40 to 70 degrees for the harsh environment application. Besides Advantech 3600, we also have another smaller size iRTU as the option, which is ECU1251. In terms of the hardware specification, ECU1251 does not have the onboard I/O and extension I/O slots, but it has 4 serial ports, while Advantech 3600 only has 3 serial ports. With the help of EdgeLink Studio, ECU1251 could also support lots of different protocols such as Modbus TCP and Modbus RTU. Modularized wireless communication is one of the core design concepts of Advantech 3600. On the front panel of Advantech 3600, there is a white plastic cover. Behind this white plastic cover, there are 2 mini PCIe slots for the wireless communication, and the 2 mini PCIe slots is 1/2 mini PCIe and 1 full mini PCIe. The customer could use up to 2 types of different wireless communication interfaces at the same time in the application, and it has the Wi-Fi, 3G GPRS, Zigbee module to choose from. Advantech 3600 also have good integration ability with Advantech products from different product lines, such as WISE-4000 series, Advantech 4000 series, and Advantech 6000 and 5000 series. With lots of the different end devices, it is tested that Advantech 3600 could support the maximum of 3,000 texts at the same time with 1 second update rate. The key proprietary technology inside Advantech 3600 is a real-time database engine, which is called WISE-PaaS EdgeLink. The idea of WISE-PaaS EdgeLink is very simple. It transfers the physical value to the text and at the same time secure the linkage with the end device and cloud apps. With the help of WISE-PaaS EdgeLink, Advantech 3600 could play as RTU, gateway, and concentrator at the same time. In RTU, it works as a traditional RTU to change the interface from different data, for example, from the serial to the Ethernet. And in the gateway, it changes the data between different protocols such as Modbus TCP, Modbus RTU, and MQTT. And when Advantech 3600 acts as a concentrator, it has the ability to calculate and process the data, and data cloud could be transferred from meaningless raw data into useful important data and then update to the cloud to save the wireless bandwidth and fee. Talking about EdgeLink structure, we could consider EdgeLink as a real-time database running inside Advantech 3600. Every feature such as calculation and system diagnostic actually interact with this real-time database to access the data inside it or write the data into database. When we download the file into Advantech 3600 from EdgeLink Studio, actually we will generate an XML file, configuration file, and then download it into the EdgeLink real-time database to modify the setting inside Advantech 3600. We also provide Linux C SDK or API for users to implement customized protocol or algorithm. The Advantech 3600 have flexible data acquisition solution. It has 8 analog input, 8 digital input, and 4 digital output on board, which could be used for the data acquisition directly. It also has 4 extension slots where allow the user to extend different I/O channels according to the need of the project. For example, we have the analog input, thermocouple, AO, digital input, and digital output for the user to choose from. Besides the hardware system, we also provide the software which is called EdgeLink Studio. It's a free utility which user could use to do the configuration of system with unified interface, and it's very easy for the user to use with. For example, if the customer wants to add a Modbus RTU analog input device with the RS485 interface, it only requires 4 steps to finish the setting. Add resource, add meter, select I/O, and select the tag. We will have more detailed introduction about EdgeLink Studio in the following session. Besides local I/O, the Advantech 3600 also have good communication ability with third-party devices and data server, so it provides an open interface for any possibility. First of all, the drivers supported by Advantech 3600 share the same structure as the web access. This gave Advantech 3600 a great advantage, which reduced the development and porting time for the new driver. EdgeLink for now support more than 200 I/O drivers. By request, it takes about 2 weeks to transfer the existing driver from web access I/O driver to the Advantech 3600 EdgeLink platform. The next feature is translate raw data locally. iRTU provides the calculation feature, unlike the traditional RTU, which only passes the downlink data to the uplink with different interface. The iRTU, on the other hand, have the ability to process the data inside it and then update the meaningful data to the cloud, which saves the cost and bandwidth of the wireless communication with intuitive data access. Advantech 3600 could use different texts to help the user translate raw data into meaningful data you really care locally. We have 3 different kinds of the DAQ: I/O DAQ, calculation DAQ, and the user DAQ. For the analog I/O DAQ, we support the scaling functions. The user could use the formula we have to translate the raw data into the engineering value directly. For example, to transfer the 10 volt to 100 degree. Advantech 3600 provide the calculation DAQ so that the user could use the function, for example, the triangle functions, we have to do the simple calculation. The customer doesn't need to write the program for simple calculation. One calculation point can have up to 8 text as the input. EdgeLink Studio provides functions such as sine, cosine, math to perform simple calculation, which is similar to the Excel function. One example is to calculate the flow rate as the output and use the temperature and pressure as the input. Third, the user DAQ, or we could say the internal DAQ, which is mostly used as the internal variable. If the user needs to transfer parameter to RTU, for example, in KW, the customer could use it as a constant or the variable which could be set according to the different situation. The user could assign a user DAQ as a set point of a PID loop. The next topic is the cloud connection. Advantech 3600 with the SCADA web access has quick and easy connection. The customer could seamlessly integrate the iRTU with the cloud service to reduce the develop time. For example, user could import all tests from EdgeLink Studio into web access directly and don't need to spend extra effort for mapping text. With proprietary protocol WISE-SCADA, we could support reporting by exception and resuming broken transfers. With the local data logger function, Advantech 3600 could support resuming broken transfer, so that if communication broken between the Advantech 3600 and the SCADA, it will automatically point out the data that did not update to the web access, and then update when the communication is back. On the other hand, the where-I-am mechanism is also a proprietary mechanism in the web access. It allows the 3G communication with the dynamic IP. In other words, it allows the add-on to use the dynamic IP access from the 3G SIM card and still could establish the connection with the SCADA. In the traditional way, both Advantech 3600 and the WA need to have the static IP, but now only web access need to have the static IP, while Advantech 3600 could use the dynamic IP. In the EdgeLink Studio, user could easily find the cloud service we have in the Advantech 3600. With intuitive user interface, the customer only needs 3 steps to manage their tests into different protocols. With the user-friendly interface, the customer could set up the test to be uploaded to the cloud service with just a few clicks. First, expanding support of protocol service. Second, double-click to select text from pop-up dialog. Third, quick click and select all kinds of text. DNP3 is one of the modern, robust, intelligent, open protocol Advantech 3600 support. As shown in this slide, it has lots of the powerful features, such as the classification of the field data with the timestamp, report by exception, communication to multiple masters. DNP3 is widely used in the SCADA system for the power and energy vertical area. We will have more introduction in the Module 4. Diagnostic of the communication is also important in the real application. We have a function which is called ICT Manager in the EdgeLink Studio to monitor the communication quality remotely. With the help of ICT Manager, the status of the serial and LAN port could be monitored easily. User could find the status and the score which indicate the quality of the communication in the system text. As shown in the picture, Advantech 3600 supports 28 system tags to help you master your system. As you can see, for example, with the prefix sys, we could see it had the CPU frequency and also how much of the capacity your SD card is used. For the wired and wireless communication, you could use the prefix dash mobile to monitor the data, the connection status of your wireless and wired communication. The user could use this system in their data logger to record the system status by time. We'll connect the ADAM3600 to the cellular service. We provide two different ways to monitor the wireless communication to keep your cellular service always online. The first one is monitored by pin, and the second is monitored by data traffic. If the ADAM3600 could not pin a particular IP or could not detect any data traffic, and the situation continued until it exceeds the defined time period, ADAM3600 would try to reconnect to the cellular service. This mechanism of checking may refer as your cell phone without cellular service. You may try to unplug and then plug the SIM card to recover the 3G service first. If this still not work, you may try to reboot the system. So there is an also option the customer could decide to reboot their system or not if the communication still have the problem after the cellular service is rebooted. In the PLC system structure, there are two important terms: IDE, Integrated Developed Environment, and RTE, Real-Time Environment, or is also called Runtime Engine. IDE is a software that could install on PC or notebook to develop the project in your office. In ADAM3600, the IDE software we use is called Multiprop Express. In the Multiprop Express, user could import the text they created in the EdgeLink Studio directly and don't need to additionally edit the text. Every ADAM3600 is also installed with the runtime engine RTE, which is called PCle OS. The customer could also find the download link for the integrated developed environment from the Advantech website and is free. RTE is built-in Advantech RTU controller and no need for extra license payment. With the help of Multiprop Express and PCle OS, ADAM3600 could support IEC-61131-3 standard, and it supports 5 different PLC languages. For example, it supports sequential, function chart, structure text, instruction list, ladder, and function block. For the IT-based background user who is not familiar with the IEC-61131-3, we also provide another approach of the programming, and they could just focus on the algorithms for Linux C program. We provide the Linux C API with the detailed example and help document. User could use the library we provide to develop the Linux-based program and then download it to the ADAM3600. The developed environment we provide is called Linux Toolchain. The user could create a virtual box in the Windows to perform this developed environment. And also, we provide two different kinds of the SDK. The first one is called DCTech. It is used for the TechLink, EdgeLink operation. And the other one is called Board Resource, and it is used for monitor and change the status of the node ID, WDT, watchdog timer, and the LED status of ADAM3600. ADAM3600 have the SD slot for the local data logger function. For the version 2.1 or earlier version, the selected tag will be stored in the SD card in the SQLite database format. And for the EdgeLink 2.2 or newer version, the data will be stored in the ADV Advantech database, which enhance the performance of the data logger and reduce the CPU usage rate. The user who simply select the text and enable periodic logging could also use the web service page to download the data in the data logger as the CSV format. Local ring buffer means the logger would rotate override the old data. In the EdgeLink Studio, The user could decide which tag need to be saved in the data logger and could also decide the sample period and the maximum data saved date so that the old data will be automatically covered with the new one. With the help of the low-code data logger, Advantech 3600 could support the resume broken transfer mechanism with WS-SCADA protocol. In order to monitor the data comfortably, the web service function is also one of the important features that Advantech 3600 equipped with. With the help of the web service function, which is built-in HTML5 with RESTful for any browser, and powered by built-in RESTful service, users could use their notebook or pad or smartphones to see the status of tag on Advantech 3600 directly, and they could also modify the value of the tags once they log in the web service page. Additional features such as online image update and version checking can also be achieved with the online web service page. The final topic is about the features that support in the new version of the EdgeLink. First feature that supported in the EdgeLink 2.2 is better security. In the time of more and more hacker appears, iRTU supports the web service page with HTTPS, so that even someone used the Wireshark to capture the packet, they still cannot see the content of the Ethernet package. We also support wireless function, so that users could assign a list according to the IP address, interface, and the function. For example, you could set only IP address equals to 110.0.0.168, could use LAN 1 to access the web service page, and IP address with 192.168.1.100 to search the module in the utility with LAN 2 of Advantech 3600. Other features like user and password login and user level management is also supported with this version of the EdgeLink. As shown in this slide, the user could use the wireless function and setting to enhance the security level. Unlike the traditional wireless function, which only could be used with the particular IP address in the list, EdgeLink supports lots of the options such as the network interface, port number, and local service to choose from. For example, you could create a wireless that only a particular IP could access the web service page by cellular interface. If the customer used the wrong IP or wrong interface, for example, Wi-Fi or LAN, to access the web service, the connection will be blocked by the wireless function. Unlike the traditional RTU, which may only support one or two types of the proprietary protocol, Advantech 3600 aims for the intelligent RTU in the IoT application, so it will support lots of different protocols. For example, we support DNP3 protocol, which support time synchronization between the master and slave, and the data format also includes the timestamp. With the help of this protocol, such as WS-SCADA, DNP3, and IEC-104, users could have higher security level and getting more different advanced functions. Besides protocol-based support, we also support different cloud service functions, such as Agile IoT Hub and MQTT, to allow the customer send their data to the existing cloud service with ease. For the detailed settings of how to use these protocols with EdgeLink, we will introduce the steps in the following module. MQTT is one of the popular protocols which is widely used in the IoT application. With its spatial subscribe publish structure and spatial packet format, users could efficiently reduce required bandwidth for the wireless communication. With spatial QoS data transfer mechanism, it could save money for the wireless communication. In the MQTT's system structure, there are three different roles: subscriber, publisher, and broker. Advantech 3600 is as MQTT client, which could be the subscriber or publisher according to the IOUs in the project. With the MQTT broker's help, it could save data processing ability besides saving bandwidth. For the end, here's the Advantech 3600 order information. You could find the part number for every module.